Welcome to the Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on the world of big data. Today, my guest is from a company called SATS, and we have the CEO and founder of the company, Alexander Nemirovsky. Alexander, how you doing today?
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks for coming on, Alex. What I thought we'd do is we'll go through your slides and then we'll follow that with a Q&A.
Sounds good. I will try to be brief. We have immediate need to process on the big data, to monitor them, to know that everything works. So we have been in this business for a number of years and on the small data and big data, and now it seems very relevant what we do to maintaining the big data in good, healthy condition. So I'll go to slide number 2 and try to explain what areas we're looking at when we want to know that the big data are actually processing well. So we do monitoring on the big data from different angles: space, all the jobs, custom business processes, backups, of course, in disaster recovery, and mainly performance. And it depends on what you run your big data. All these areas are affected, and all they are addressed differently. So these commercial databases and structured databases, that's kind of one angle. With non-SQL databases, it's totally different angle. Like Hadoop tends to run out of disk space once in a while, and it is critical that all the jobs will be accomplished on time. You don't want to have any Hadoop job run for 3 days with no result, and so on. Performance-wise, if you're looking at big data processing, say on Oracle, then we want to know that it's performing on top. It's very expensive infrastructure, which usually is big size databases, big servers, but every click, everything needs to be taken care of. So we develop technology to monitor all those areas in real time and to allow database administrators or backend operators or developers, whoever is responsible for business deliveries, to know what's going on in close to real time as well. So how does it work? We deliver two things. We deliver managed service if we are looking at the company which has no internal IT or wants to outsource the whole IT, and we sometimes deliver just monitoring technology for use inside internal IT by internal IT people. So technology is separate, it's our own product, and the service is built around the product. So we kind of have a dual personality in our company. I'm going to go shortly about how the thing works and why we had to develop the technology a little bit. We ran into the problem when we started this business that there were no monitoring technology for heterogeneous environments, whatever your backend is built on, in the industry. Since then, things changed, but I still don't see any single unified monitoring system light enough, non-intrusive enough, and easy enough to use for all kinds of monitor devices. Hence, our Cerberus technology becomes pretty much up to date and very much actual for the business. So what we do is we deliver business as service, and we deliver that Cerberus as technology where you can subscribe for the count and set up your monitoring, and you don't have to worry about maintaining your own monitoring warehouse in your environment, in your IT. Our solution is extremely customizable, extremely flexible. We support all structural databases and main non-structural databases. So when I say non-SQL, I mean Mongo, I mean Cassandra, I mean Hadoop. And for structural databases, I mean Big Four, Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, and Postgres. In my experience, we don't need anybody else in environment here, at least in the West Coast. I have not seen DB2 for ages. So I don't know what the IBM is doing, but this market is not for this technology, I guess. Anyhow, on structural databases and non-structural databases, people run the mix on the back end. And no matter what you do, how you do, you need to address the performance, capacity, disaster recovery, backups, and you need to address the jobs are running. So notification system is extremely flexible on monitoring. We run analytical analysis every time we receive the performance metrics from any device, and this analytical function allows us to predict what's going to happen before it's going to happen. So frankly, we can go skiing and know that everything is fine, and once we get a warning, we still get ample time to fix the problem. It's not a problem yet, it's just a development. And that's what the predictive technology of Cerberus delivers. That's the beauty of it. So, of course, secure communications, of course, there is a reporting system and everything else which contemporary monitoring systems should have. I already briefly touched about our scope of monitoring. As you see, we support all main, most popular and widespread backends there are. Of course, they run on different flavors of operating systems. It's mostly Linux, Solaris, and Windows. Again, I have not seen HP for a while, and other operating systems even less than that. But those main three and this 7 main database environments, that's pretty much the scope of today's market on backend. So how do you operate? The Cerberus is built extremely robust. So it's hard to kill this. It's very hard to kill this monitoring system. It has redundancy built into it. So I say if there is an enterprise which is being monitored, it's on your left, in the cloud on the left, and there is a SaaS technologist in the cloud on your right. And you see the flows of data. So I have a monitored database and monitored database server on the left, and I have agents installed on each of them, and agents once in a while logs into the database, checks everything, builds performance matrix, and the performance matrix is being uploaded to the right to the Cerberus central warehouse. On the right, it's being processed, digested for trends, analysis, and any problems. And if anything found, immediately there is a red line, the red arrow, which goes and notifies people who need to know about the problem. Of course, there is escalation and everything. We have 2 ways to deliver the performance metrics from the monitored device to the Cerberus. The 2 ways are direct HTTP upload or slower email. Sometimes email is the only way to go because we cannot have direct access to HTTP from within the enterprise. Lots of e-commerce sites, e-commerce customers of ours, they cannot allow HTTP access from their database servers to outside world, and that's for security reasons. So email comes handy. With email, one-way communication is totally secure. On other cases, we have ability to do HTTP uploads, and then our monitoring comes in real time, really in real time. Depends on the setup then. On our side, the Cerberus warehouse is a pretty big database. It has lots of controls and has lots of intelligence built into that. So we can analyze performance metrics and digest it and devise the trends and say that this trend is going to happen and become the problem 3 hours from now, or this trend is going to happen and become the problem 2 days from now. So this very, very interesting analysis which we do on the back end, and we call it predictive monitoring, and so far no commercial system comes to that. I have not seen it yet. Anyhow, that's an overview of how the Cerberus flows work and how we go about the technology. So the service which built around it, of course, has people, and there are only three figures on this picture. The people are the key, because we don't have people constantly connected to your monitor big data system, and what we do is we listen to Cerberus monitoring and connect on demand. So there is no permanently open VPN bridge or anything which requires secure setup at the constant level. So our people are skilled in different areas. We have I don't have a slide for that, but we have a certain certain structure for supporting the client's site. So there is always DBA on duty who are responsible for listening to Cerberus, responding to alerts, and responding to problems. And we call him a frontline person. And of course, there is a backline, which usually have one or two people on it, depends on the amount of workload. And those people are experts in their own areas. So that's how it works. And the frontline person can always pull in expertise from the backline and vice versa. So we kind of work in teams. There is no single man who can know everything. And considering the zoo of devices which we monitor, right? So we have multiple operating systems and 7 different database engines to maintain and support. It's a zoo, and everybody is expert in each own in his own area. So we have to work in teams so we can share the expertise. So that's how we can be efficient and nimble enough. So this technology, as a Cerberus, allows us to beat the market because it's extremely intelligent. We can create service which is fitting into the budget for small companies. I'm going to go to the next slide. So for small companies, it's extremely important that their investment into IT works. They actually don't want to deal with IT, they want to have it running. So this monitoring which we provide and the remote DBA service which we provide, that's pretty much the graph which we see. It's extremely steep rise in the beginning, in the first half year, then it's stable, predictable performance where everything is taken care of, and then we can take our team and scale it up. So that's good for everybody. Cerberus allows a lot of customization notification for various reasons. So people are different. Some people want to have information on their cell phone. Some people want to watch the screen on a computer. Some people want to have a report once a week. And it's all addressed within the monitoring system. Statistics and capacity planning help the business to predict what they need to do. We have clients who actually rely on that when they purchase hardware, or they need to find out how many licenses they need to have for next year for Oracle or SQL Server. That's the interesting aspect of predictive monitoring. What we don't do, it's kind of a different approach. Not what we do, but what we don't do. And I try to compare different monitoring systems which are on the market, which most of the monitoring software requires SMTP connection. So you need to install the server in the IT in a cage and configure it to be able to SNMP to monitor devices. Since we do through email and through HTTP, we don't need that. And since we do it one way, we're totally secure on that point. And here comes that we don't compromise security through two-way open connection ever through the monitoring. So we never lose the data on monitoring. So if somehow device is down or for some other reason that it's down, like network down, but database is up, we still have the monitoring data. They will just arrive later. So we would not miss the latent problems. They would not still miss any trend which is developing in the database, and so on. Since we deliver it as SaaS, there is no in-house resources, of course, to maintain and update. It's all transparent. We just use it. There is no need to have a big warehouse of a terabyte size to digest all the monitoring trends. We have it on our side. And of course, there is no technical support for this, so it's all transparent because we run our own system and we know what we do. A little bit about the company. Since we are trying to deliver this 24/7 operations for the big data, our mission is to minimize the cost of IT ownership for all our clients. And that's simply achieved through uptime and performance. We're not joking when we say we deliver this 99.999% uptime on their own infrastructure. We don't have to have a super great top-of-the-line hardware infrastructure built in. We just deliver it through the monitoring. This is pretty much self-explanatory message. Since we database monitoring companies, that's how we started originally. We kind of expanded to ops, and remote ops is becoming kind of hot process. Wanted to tell you a little bit about the history here. I put here some of the most known guys and non-boring.coms. Okay, I can of course put there Wells Fargo and HP, but those guys are boring. So on. The sexy story of Napster. Okay, the company was extremely great, small, nimble, and they've been growing until they've been killed by the government. But while they've been operating for 3 years here in Redwood City, we've been running them on fully remote ops. Oracle, Solaris, that's what their platform was, and 24/7 operations delivered by SATS and Cerberus. LinkedIn, another sexy one. We started work with them in 2003 from the inception, and I personally designed their database. And we run them for production operations for the first year until they grown and become big, and then they switch to their own IT department. I guess for the IPO purposes, that was a good move. Anyhow, when I see the big client or small client, whatever, when I see the application which has, like, for example, 5,000 tables in it on behind, there is something wrong. LinkedIn, we launched it with 30 about tables. That's it. So you don't need a lot of entity behind. You can address the business model in fairly nimble configuration and scalable. You just have to design it right. So when the current applications have thousands of tables, I can tell you it's wrong design. But anyhow, it's a different aspect going into how contemporary systems are wrongly designed and then how they fail. Just wanted to say the SAT Technologies delivers ability to design it right. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just do the right design from the scratch, and everything is covered quickly, efficiently, and at low cost. Sony Music, that was another one interesting. They've been doing a lot of processing on Oracle, and they shared lots of musical websites back in 2005, and that was interesting startup. Biotech industry, Monogram Bio, of course, they've been example here of one of our clients who've been with us since 1997, if I'm not mistaken, and they're still happy with us. Even if they treat IT as a necessary evil, as most biotechnical companies do, they still have to have it. So it's one of the first outsourcing solutions which we did for biotech, and it's still operational and well. I don't want to go about every and each one of those guys. We have a huge page on our website with all the clients. So I probably, at this point, just say that let's stop and listen what questions are, what we can answer, and if needed, you can contact me here. Here's my information. Rich, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Alexander. How were people getting this job done of monitoring before you guys came along? Were they having to write their own code, or how did they do it?
Well, exactly right. There were internal IT departments, and they still are, which are fully staffed with people, and imagine all the cost of salaries, benefits, and everything. And those people put some kind of scripts on their backends, and they schedule them through cron tab or through schedule if it's Windows. And those scripts run once every 15 minutes or once every half an hour, whatever, and they do some kind of poking around the system and send email to that person. So that person can look into email or on a pager or on a cell phone and see what's happening. So it's homegrown monitoring. That's how it's mostly done. We have a competition, of course. I can go about that briefly, but the competition is designed for big IT departments and designed to have this software installed inside IT. If I'm talking about BMC software, this monster is huge, but they will take 30% of performance of your server to run their BMC application. Excuse me? Why would I need to have? Yeah, it's counterproductive. Or if I say like Oracle Enterprise Manager, our other competition. Well, Oracle Enterprise Manager kind of borrowed our website approach back in 2002 from Cerberus. They really sniffed around our system. But anyhow, they still rely on SNMP, and they do not go outside of the firewalls. And besides, they try to do the management and not just monitoring, which results in extremely unreliable system overall. Too many controls, and the whole thing just too shaky to work with. So that's a different approach. We want to do outsourcing. We have experts here. We don't want end clients to keep experts on their payroll because they're expensive. And with a few experts and the smart monitoring system, we can beat the market on this. So of course, other people go and they do outsourcing of monitoring to sunny Bangalore, where they can have droves of people 24/7 watching the screen, literally sitting at the desks and watching the screen. So that's a manual approach, is what we call it. So we cannot afford the manual. We have to do technology here. That's
Yeah.
different way.
And then, Alexander, does your software have hooks? If I'm running my database in the cloud, say on Amazon or something like that, or in a virtualization space, can SATs work with that as well?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of cloud-based clients, and they are small startups usually who put their computers on Amazon or Internet or somewhere else, and they ask us to provide the database backend expertise because nobody on Amazon knows how to do that. So the most they can do, they can crash the database with the backup. That's all they can deliver. But yes, of course we do, and we do performance and scalability. And what's interesting with Amazon, we go and based on monitoring and Cerberus, we can provision additional boxes quickly. If the load grows up and the system needs to scale up, we provision additional backend boxes and make them join the play. So that's very interesting aspect.
Yeah. So how does your business model work, Alexander? I mean, do you charge by the gigabyte or on annual basis, or how does it work?
Well, it's a typical SLA which connected to instances.
Yeah.
So it depends how many instances of the database backend you need to monitor. We just put a price on that. And of course, there is discount scale and so on.
Right. So I guess kind of a wrap-up question here, Alexander. I mean, as you look to your customers, what kind of capabilities are they asking you for that you think will be coming in the future?
So far, they're asking us to do remote operations. completely to take over not just database, but pretty much everything. So we looking into kind of mix between DBA skills and system admin skills, and that's where everybody wants to go. They outsource hardware to Amazon or to internet or somewhere else, cloud, and they want to have outsourced software which runs in this cloud as well. That's a trend which I see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, terrific. Well, Alexander, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show today.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
All right. Well, thanks again. So that's it for the Rich Report, folks. Stay tuned for more news and information on the world of big data.